In this section, let's learn how to work with files. So in Java, we have the ability to create files, delete files, read from a file, write from a file, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to show you one of many ways of working with files in Java. And by no means, this is the only way of working with files. So you'll see around people using different classes, different libraries and whatnot. But this is one of many ways that you can work with files within Java. And I'm going to make it super easy for you to understand. So let's learn how to create a file. So let's say that we want to create a file in Java. So here we need to use the file class, and this comes from java.io. I'm going to name it file equals to new and then file. At this point in here, so we need to pass a couple of things. So one really that I want to pass is the file name or the path name. So here I'm going to say src / and I'm going to name this file as foo.txt. So this is the name of the file. Now in itself, this object now gives us the ability of performing a couple of things upon this file. So here I could say file dot, and I can check whether the file exists. I can check whether it's indeed a file, whether I can write to a file, I can delete, I can check whether it's equals to, I can get the absolute path in here, the canonical path, so on and so forth, even the free space as well, the parent, and you can see a bunch of methods is hidden, last modified. We can create a directory, we can rename, so we can set readable, and this is it. Now this file right here is basically, so here if I right click and then let's say here I want to basically create a new file in here and then foo.txt. So instead of us creating this file manually, we can actually automate this entire process. Instead of us writing to this file, we can automate the entire process using Java. So in here, let's just close that and let's delete this because we're going to create this in a second. Let's just delete. And basically in here, let's just say if the file doesn't exist, so if the file dot doesn't exist, so in here, so I'm going to say not, if it doesn't exist, we want to create the file. So file dot create file. Now remember exceptions, so create file. This now says that we need to basically handle this IO exception. This IO exception is an exception in here, and this is a checked exception. It's not a runtime exception. So we need to handle this with a try and catch block. Now we have two options. We can either do it in here, we can have a try catch in here, or we can encapsulate everything with a try. And here I'm going to say catch IO exception E, and let's just take this and then put it inside. So if this fails, so if it fails to create the actual file, then we end up in here. So if I say south e.getMessage. Now let's just basically say S, for example, or basically SR, right? So SRC means SRC in here. So that's the folder. And then within SRC, we are saying foo.txt. So let's try and create this file. Let's just right click, run it. And you can see no such file or directory and exit code 0. So basically there was an exception which was thrown by this method in here, and we caught the exception because this directory doesn't exist. Now if I say C, so we know that this is a directory, and by the way, don't add path name : so this is mainly IntelliJ giving me some hints. So let me show you again. I think I showed you this before, but if I just say do not show hints, you can see that's gone. But I like hints, so let's just leave that in there. All right, so now we've fixed the path. Let's just run it, and you can see that it worked. Exit with 0. If I open a project, you can see that we have our file.txt. Now, if you want to delete this, so here, if the file doesn't exist, we're going to delete it. But here, let's just say, if the file exists, so if file.exists, we want to delete. So file.delete. So here you can see that we are basically automating through code and not doing this manually. So let's just delete the file. You can see that now the file is gone. If I run this once more, the file should come up and then disappeared, right? So basically it created a file and the file exists now, and then it deletes the file. So let me just get rid of this because I don't want to delete the file. But this is pretty much how you create a file in Java. That's all for now. Catch me on the next one.